Good evening, everyone. Welcome to oNiD Racing. I'm the resident boss man, Johnny Ashley, and we are at a very cold and dark Laguna Seca for our Multiclass Sundays sprint racing this evening. For those of you who haven't joined in before and seen our sprint race on a Sunday, it is GT4 cars and BMW M2s running in two separate classes. So this should be a good one. The track is very green at the minute. I know some people have been complaining about it. It's been slipping and sliding, but it should be a good one. The guys are just going through the end of their driver briefing, and they will head out on track for the last few minutes of practice before moving into a split qualifying session with the BMW M2s going out for 10 minutes, followed by the GT4s for the final 10 minutes. Just some guys in chat already. Hello to everyone. Heike van der Veen. Hello, mate. WVO is here. Jock says Alex Shahab is my favourite. He's dreamy. Fair play. Hydronox. Hello, sir. How are you? Matt Holman is here. And Dasta. So, yeah, this is going to be a good one. I'm glad to see so many of you joining me. I am on my own this evening. I'm actually supposed to be racing in this one. But Adam's away at a show, so he couldn't do it. And Dan, who was... step in on a Sunday as actually he's actually racing in this one, and he's just come off the back of a 24-hour race at Simply Race. Yes, Hiker, a very lonely Johnny tonight. I am on my own, but hello. Hopefully it'll be a good race and give me plenty to talk about. Vest, thank you for the subscription. It is indeed race day. I'm looking forward to this one. Laguna is not everyone's favourite track, but I've made it especially difficult and put it at night. And it's going to be cool as well. So for those of you who don't know, we run a live weather system within our ACC Sunday races. So basically that means throughout the week I check the weather, forecast the weather that it's going to be, and I set the settings in the practice servers to what they are likely going to be on the day. And then Sunday morning I wake up, I check the weather, and I set the main overall server that they'll be racing in. And when I looked, Laguna's quite a cool one tonight. So let's see how this goes. Some guys heading out on track for a little bit. Let's go and pick up some of the guys with David Oller, who is in my personal favourite ever, Ginetta. So we'll follow him around for a little bit. Dave's saying it's very cold. Yes, it is cold. And I'm sure it's going to make things extra slippy and extra challenging for the GT4 drivers, but again it's going to be the same for the follow-on events from this. We have the main event races coming later on this evening, split 1 and split 2. Split 2 will be streamed tonight. Will be slightly different from what we do usually on a Sunday. It's usually a fluid stream that will go from the sprint series then into the main event, but because of Dan the Man, he's not about his racing in this one, and I'm sure he's going to bed. I'm streaming this one, and then we're going to stop the stream for 10-15 minutes, and then our very own Jimbo Mancy is going to take over with Cammy, and they will be streaming Split 2 this evening. So I'm sure the GT3s and the Lambo STs in the main event will struggle just as much as the GT4s and M2 in this race. Good to see Mr. Vest here. I ran a quicker time than expected. Good stuff.
Fantastic development this is.
Steinman is now following. Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate that. Sammy, good evening, mate. Good to see you. So yeah, it's going to be a good race this evening. Let's pick up the M2s. Let's go and see Mr. Jelinek. Had a great race with him on Friday in a Jimmy Broadbent event that we run. 90 minutes of Nürburgring. And me and Petto were battling for 90 minutes in the GT4s, and we're very, very close. After the two stops, we actually came out within 2 or 3 seconds of each other, and then battled it out until the end. So that was really good. But he's really good in these slower style cars. He seems to get them hooked up really well. Yes, Sam, Laguna at night is going to be quality. I love it. 7th in practice, Hiker. Well, there is a few missing. Myself included, but you've been beating me all season long, so I can't really count in that one. But yeah, there is some of the guys missing. Ben's missing, although he's not as hardcore as Dan Hyde. They've both done a 24-hour race that finished a few hours ago. Dan Hyde still made it, and Ben's yet to be seen. So yeah, we are missing a few guys tonight, but it's still a nice number, 18 cars on not the biggest of tracks. So there should be some great racing for us to, for me to commentate on anyway. Hiker, I'm not faster than you in these. You've been beating me all season. You'll see Mr. Yellowneck then have a nice little slide on his way up the hill. Gets that spun round and back away they go. So these guys will be going into qualifying in just over a minute's time. Been checking on Will van Ooselen, who's in a Genera, a very nice looking bright coloured Genera. It'll be easy to spot this evening, but it should be. I would think with I'm looking at the practice times with Sharon, he's very, very quick, almost a second and a half quicker than anyone else on the track. But as we go further down, the likes of Vest, Baz de Vroid, WVO, Queros, Medina, they're all with a chance of getting on that podium. Even Heike van der Veen might have a chance if things go his way. It's only a 30-minute sprint this evening, so we have 20 minutes of qualifying followed by a 30-minute sprint. Just the one race before we do go into the main event. Should be some good viewing for everyone this evening. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm glad you could join me for this one. If I do go quiet at times, it's because I'm on my own this evening, and you'll probably get fed up of hearing my voice anyway. But we soldier on. We soldier on. Just reading the chat, Hiker. Don't say that. What if it happens? What if you get on an overall podium? I'll be over the moon for you, mate. It'll be well deserved. Your pace has been improving drastically in these GT4 cars, so it'll be well deserved. That's for sure. So, a solid 18 drivers tonight, and they're just finishing up practice. They'll be moving across to qualifying anytime soon. Just waiting for some guys to finish their laps. If anyone's got any questions about oNiD or the race format or anything, give me a shout. I'm here to interact with you tonight. Be great to have some people to interact with, because like I said, I am on my own, so the sound of my own voice is going to get really, really annoying to myself, so God knows what it will do to you. But any questions, anything, just feel free to pipe up and ask the question, and I'll answer them as best I can, while providing some hopefully decent commentary on this great race. What is the official mascot of oNiD? We did have the oNiD Dino for a little bit. I think that kind of died off quite soon after it was made. I think it's actually still an emoji on Twitch. We did have that for a while, but I don't suppose we haven't got... Yes, it went extinct. Yes, exactly that. It went extinct. That'll do. But yeah, no, we haven't really got an official mascot. Unless you want to be it, Hydra. You can be the official oNiD mascot if you want. I'll even buy you a costume of your choosing. So these guys then, M2s, are on their way out to do their qualifying. So we'll pick up Alex Shahabi. Been doing very well this season in the M2 class. And he's currently second to Dave Selecki. Alex has 100 points for the series so far, with Dave Selecki leading the way on 127. I know Alex did miss a couple of races due to other races taking, endurance races overrunning, but still a good effort from him. And obviously, with it being a 10-round season, only 8 of these results are going to count for the season. So it doesn't matter if you miss a couple. We know life happens, but only 8 results will count, and SGP will automatically get rid of your 2 worst results. So coming towards the end of the season, it's going to be interesting, and the standings, in the standings, and see who's close to winning that championship. Paul O'Grady is the mascot of oNiD. I'll let you come to your own conclusions on that one. Yes. Which one, though? Are we going to have Lily Savage? Or are we going to have a dear friend, the Irish Paul O'Grady? I'll get you the high heels if you want. So Alex Shahab then on his outlap. It's very dark out there, and the track is still green, and it's 10 degrees, so it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any warmer. If anything, it might get a little bit cooler as the race goes on. So that M2 is going to be super slidey. So we'll see what kind of times they're putting in as Alex makes his way up the hill and under the bridge to the tight left-hander on his first flying lap. Tricky left-hander this, and use as much runoff as you can without invalidating your lap as you make your way to the dreaded corkscrew, up the hill, over the top of the hill, and then down the corkscrew. Really tough corner. Alex seems to have got that done really well, and makes your way down the hill to sector 3 and into the final 2 corners of the track. Very quick sweeping right-hander, and then as he makes his way down this little back straight to a very tight left-hander to head back onto the pit straight, and he will come across the line then for his first flying lap. And as he does cross the line then, a 1:36 flat for Alex Shahabi puts him on pole position just for the time being. And so we've got rid of Stein for Red Nose Racing. He's also out. Just making his way up to that left-hander I was on about. To take too much curb, run too wide, that'll invalidate your lap. As he heads up then towards over the crest of the hill and down into the tricky corkscrew. Some people love the corkscrew, some people hate it. I personally, if you get it right, I think it's one of the most amazing corners on a racetrack. It's brilliant to watch cars go down it, especially motorbikes as well. Motorbikes look really good as they're heading down the corkscrew. The change in direction is something quite incredible. As he comes through the last corner then. So Nick Wade just goes second with a 1:38.3. Rudolf Stein then about to come across the line. And he does so. He goes up to second with a 1:38.1. So just a couple of tenths quicker than Nick Wade. Nick Wade is currently 3.5 tenths up on his best. Just made his way through sector 1, heading through sector 2. As he comes through, slightly off camber left-hander. Easy to run wide, as he's done a little bit there, but seems to have got it stuck. Making his way under the bridge into the left-hander at the bottom of the hill, and then he heads up the hill towards the corkscrew. Currently still 3.5 tenths up on his best lap, as Lawson then goes into third with a 1:38.375. Nick Wade has just invalidated that through the corkscrew. Not an easy corner for sure. Easy to invalidate if you take too much of that curb. Let's go on board Rudolf Stein. He is currently 6 tenths up on his best. He's made his way safely through the corkscrew and down into the final 2 corners. This is going to be terrifying in the Super Trofeo. Yes, I don't even envy you doing it in that. That's going to be horrific. Yeah, I can't see that's going to be great at all. So Rudolf Stein then, half second up on his lap time, crosses the line. Does a 1:37.687 to cement his second place at the minute. Can pick up on Dave Selecki. Oh no, I died team. Yes, if anyone didn't know, that is what oNiD stands for. Oh no, I died. Dave being a founding member. Loves these M2 cars. Currently leading the championship from Alex Shahabi. So we'll see what kind of lap time he puts in as he heads up to the corkscrew. Over that crest of that hill, very blind at the top of there. You can't really see the corkscrew as Dave goes a little bit wide and does cut the corkscrew. Unfortunately, that'll invalidate his lap. We get back to Nick Wade. He's just going for the cut-off, sniped him, and lucky. Yeah. Oh no, that was someone. That was Matt Gray in front of him that has gone off. I thought that was Nick Wade. I thought I'd sniped him on stream, but he's gone through the corkscrew. And he is currently 8/10 up on his best lap as he makes it through the penultimate corner. Makes his way down to the last corner. Best, I'll be back for the main event, mate. Don't worry. Well, for our little pre-race ritual. So Nick Wade then comes across the line in a 1:37.287. That puts him second. It's a good lap that from Nick Wade. He'll be pleased with that. Puts him within 1.5 seconds of Alex Shahabi. We go down to Petty Jelinek in the classic BMW livery. He makes his way on the top of the hill through the corkscrew. See how he does. It's great camera looking at the corkscrew. Seems to have got that all very clean and tidy through there. Lost a little bit of time through the corkscrew. He's gained it back into this corner. He's currently 3/10 up on his best lap. That will put him into third if he can continue going through as he comes up to the last corner. Through that fairly well. A lot of curve on the exit, but that's fine as long as you don't invalidate your lap. 3.5 tenths up. Be enough to put him third. If he sticks it, he does. Petty Jelinek then goes up to third. Let's catch the end of Dave's lap, see if he can, as he's coming up to the last corner, then see what time he puts in. It'll be his first time he's managed a valid lap. So he comes out the last corner, down the pit straight, heading towards the line. Goes second with a 1:36.647. Good lap. He'll get one more in as well because we've got 40 seconds until the GT4s make their way out. So still time for Dave to get as close as possible to Alex Shahabi. Makes his way through Sector 1 then. Currently a 10th down on his best. It's a little bump at the end of Sector 2 then. Makes his way up the first part of the hill under the bridge. Into the tricky left-hander. Be careful of the sausage curb on the inside. Just slightly clip it. Don't want to take too much of it. It will bounce you over and invalidate your lap. Dave then over the crest of the hill into the corkscrew. Can he keep it tidy through the corkscrew? Just about does. Keeps it within track limits, but he has lost a fair bit of time. It doesn't look like Dave's going to improve on his time as the GT4s will start heading out on their fastest out for their qualifying. Just going to check on Matt Gray then, as it doesn't look like Dave's going to increase. And Matt Gray, halfway through the lap, is currently just under a second up on his best lap. Makes his way through the corkscrew. Keeps it within track limits. Loses a fair amount of time though. That corkscrew is tricky. He was a second up and he's lost 8/10 through the corkscrew. Not great. It's really tricky corner to get nailed on. You can gain so much time. Goes a little bit wide. Manages to keep it within track limits as he comes to the last corner then. Does get it through safely the last corner. He's half a second up. Won't be enough to move him out of 7th position as we watch Mark Lawson then. He goes up to 5th with a 1:37.555. And that should be it. I think they're all done. They are all done. So Alex Shahabi then takes your M2 pole positions from Dave Selecki, Nick Wade, Rudolf Stein, Lawson, Jelinek and Gray round out the positions in the M2 class. Let's go and pick up the hero of the hour. Oh, he's not on track, I don't think. No, he's not. Let's go and pick up Graham Jackson. Graham Jackson then looking to start his first flying lap in DJ Motorsport oNiD inspired Ginetta. Racing stronger on the front of that one. Really nice livery, oNiD on the back, as you can see there. Really quick in that Ginetta. Seems to be getting to grips with the car and it's had some good results. Dave, whatever Shahab you're smoking, I want some. It was quick. He was quick, Dave. He was. Jimbo's here. Hello, mate. How are you? Hope you're ready for your stream later on. So news from Dave, the pit lane reporter, is that DJ's having some braking issues. So if he pulls over at any point, that is why. So we keep an eye on him. Fingers crossed, everything will be good for him, because he has been making great strides in that car. As he makes his way then through the corkscrew for the first time. Nice amount of curb, looked fairly clean through there. And makes his way to the final two corners. Into the first right-hander. A little bit wide, but manages to keep within track limits. And through the last corner. David Oller will be the first car across the line. There's Jackson, and Graham Jackson goes fourth with a 134.3. Yuval Sharon already put in a 131.8. The top of the order. He's been very quick in that Porsche all season long. Been quick in the GT4 season on a Tuesday as well. Really impressive stuff. And he's currently 6/10 up his quickest lap as well. So we could see Sharon dip into the 30s during qualifying. And if practice is anything to go by, no one will get near him as he goes a little bit wide. Oh yeah, gets a corkscrew all a little bit wrong, pushing a little bit too hard. And will lose all his time. It's unfortunate because he was on for a very, very good lap indeed. Let's go on board then with Wilbur van Oosenen. He's currently 8/10 up on his quickest lap as he makes his way through the penultimate corner. Goes a little bit wide. Jeanette sliding about in the cold weather. Still a green track as well, so it's not rubbered in at all. He's still 6.5 up though, as he makes his way over the line, and that puts him up to third. So a good lap from Van Oosenen, 1.4 seconds off pole position, but it's put him up to the front, up towards the front. He'll be pleased with that one. On board with Mazda Void. Currently sitting second, and oh, he gets a bit sideways, and that'll be an invalidation then. Unfortunate for him. Stay where you are, mate. Two other cars coming through on their laps. He just keeps it safely off the track. Let's go on board Ralph Vest then in the Porsche for Apex Gaming. Currently half a second up. This will be a good time for him if he can keep this momentum up through the rest of the lap as he comes through the last corner, and he's lost quite a bit of time in that last corner. He will have time to go again. We'll get another couple of laps in. I'm going to try and... Jimbo's here with all his silly emotes and all kinds of stuff. Thought you were dropping the kids off at home, not at the pool. Be a little bit weird. As Sharon then does dip into the 30s as we thought he might. 139.65. Puts him 2 seconds quicker than anyone else. Baz Void the closest, 2.1 seconds back. So he looks like he's got this one nailed on. Going to have a look at Alexandra Quiros. So he comes through the last corner then. 7 tenths up. This time will be good enough to put them second place. Queiroz does go second then with a 1:32.7. Good lap from Queiroz there. And Boyd with Buster Void after his spin on the last lap. Was it Thursday? See, I don't even know what day of the week it is, Jimbo. I'm not busy this week. Buster Void then, 4 tenths up as he makes his way through Sector 1 and on his way into Sector 2. Little bit wide. And out of that tricky left-hander, makes his way up the hill, even underneath the bridge. Tricky left-hander. So as little curb or as much curb as you dare in the entry to that one. And then up over the crest of the hill into the blind entry into the corkscrew. Looks to have got that nailed on through there. Through the left-hander after the corkscrew into the penultimate corner. Tricky right-hander, can carry more speed than you realise. It's a little bit wide. Manages to keep it within track limits. Still 3 tenths up. Through the last corner. Lost a little bit of time there. It's probably not going to improve. Lost 3 tenths through the last corner. It's a very tricky corner. And will stay third. Let's go and have a look at Heike van der Veen then. He's currently 4 tenths up on his fastest lap. He does improve. 1:33.777 stays 6th position. And these guys then. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, you're not streaming the gym at 2.4, but yeah, I get it. It's been one of them weeks. Been pulled from pillar to post between work and oNiD. It gets to the best of us.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, who's that? We have a Cammy. Hello, Cammy.
We're the only two in the comms booth.
I was talking to Jimbo. He's in chat.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, he's in chat. This wasn't just me rambling on as we see Heike van der Veen get a little bit too much curb and bounce into the gravel, and that might be his qualifying over. Yuval Sharon crosses the line. We'll get one more lap in, but he's 1.2 seconds clear of anyone else. Ralph Vest moves up into second with a 1:32.1. How are you, Cammy?
I'm well. I apologise. It doesn't say you're live or anything, so I didn't actually know you were streaming.
I'm always streaming. It's the way it felt like this week, anyway. So yeah, I didn't know you were going to join us for the sprint race.
I wasn't. I was just checking in for the main event. And usually for viewers watching, as we would do things, we do it on Discord and we'll stream the race on Discord whilst we commentate on it. But because Johnny Ash is not streaming his video, I took it to mean, we're not live yet. So I jumped in and just heard him talking to himself.
Should be able to see that now.
Yes, that is what I'm more used to, as I see qualifying has come to an end as I go through the corkscrew.
Yep, so Yuval Sharon currently on pole, and that's where he will stay, I'm sure, 1.2 seconds quicker than anyone else on track. Just to run you through the M2 results in qualifying, Cammy, Alex Shahabi was on pole position for that one, with Dave Selecki in second.
They're fantastically skilled drivers, aren't they?
I'm impressed that Dan Hyde has made it after his 24-hour race. But he hasn't put a lap in.
No, it says he's 6.8 seconds off the pace, but I don't know if that was just a cold tyre banker lap.
Yeah, I don't think Dan fancied putting a lap in that one. We will lay him off because he has just come off. I saw Dan earlier and they all look very, very tired at Simply Race.
I imagine so. I'm not a big endurance fan, so I've had too much experience of being punted out early on in the endurance after weeks of practice, and then somebody takes us out, and it's like, oh, all that effort. And
But the good thing with endurance
for me.
races is you can make it all back because they are that long. I've been in races where we've the oNiD team has not had the best of starts and been involved in incidents, and we've managed to, within the 6 hours, get back to a relatively good position and even taken podiums. Dave's just said, "Did I hear you just spark a ciggy, Johnny?" Yes, it was. Did you catch the
It's like you got the... That's like, I'm trying to think of an animal with very good hearing, but
Obviously, must have been my microphone picking up the spark of the lighter.
yeah.
So they've got a full formation lap to do. In the dark at Laguna, it's the track is only fast, Cammy, and it's 10 degrees.
Oh, chilly. Well, I'd hope more than expect Dan Hyde to come through the field and get ahead of Alex Shahabi within a few laps.
Well, you'd hope so.
I would hope so.
As long as he doesn't hide him on the way through.
He's not that bad anymore.
No, I will say
He's certainly not caused major pile-ups recently.
I was chatting to the likes of Sean King and Christian Kelly today at Simply Race, and they all said how amazing Dan did overnight in the 24-hour. With it was apparently the server was as wet as R Factor can make it overnight in the 24-hour race. So
are you a big fan of R Factor?
It's growing on me. Obviously, I race it a lot when I go to Simply Race, and it was probably the first sim I really raced. That's how I got into sim racing, was going with Ben on a Friday night to Simply Race. It's certainly massively improved over the few years that I've been racing it, and there will be some R Factor stuff coming to oNiD shortly as well.
R Factor 2 works great at Simply Race. We all just jump in and race. Online, where people can practice and do setups, you then get a real discrepancy between people who are experienced with setups, and because there's no support base out there, like iRacing and ACC, you get Coach Dave Academy and you get all, and VRS to do setups, to at least give you a base to work from. But R Factor really doesn't have that.
No, the one thing at Simply Race is it's all fixed setups, and Grant does an amazing job of running the fixed setups there over at Simply Race. And yes, you are in a way correct to people who are good, but I think there is a setting where you can fix the setups on the server as well. So I don't know what the default setups are like on some cars. I know there is quite a few poor setups for some of the cars, but I think it's definitely going to be one to look out for in the next kind of 6 months.
Fantastic development this is.
As Gareth Ronda, thanks for the follow, mate. I saw you join oNiD earlier on this today after tagging me saying the invite wasn't working. So good to have you here, mate. We have got a bit of Multiclass. I know that's what you were interested in and coming to have a watch. So yeah, we have got the GT4s and the M2s around a very chilly Laguna. So yeah, jumping back to R Factor, I think over the next 6 months. We'll see it being, hopefully having a bit of a revival. The player base online isn't there at the minute, but hopefully it will be.
And there's more race sims coming out, aren't there? Like Automobilista 2,
Yeah.
That's a fairly recent one. You've got Race Room, which is getting bigger. They're all going to want a slice of that audience, the hardcore sim racing audience, aren't they?
They are. Race Room has got a cult following, and so we'll come back to this. We're just going to watch these guys go green. We'll jump onto the helicam then. So Sharon will lead from Ralph Fest, Alexander Queiroz and Baz de Vroid. These are your front two rows. As they go green, Yuval Sharon with a great start gets ahead of Ralph Fest as they make their way down the hill into the first corner then. Queiroz then looking at the inside of Ralph Fest. Fest has got it slotted, but Queiroz is fighting back, and Queiroz has got the inside line and maybe has got that done. You see Ralph Fest then fight back and has got the inside line for turn 3 and has reclaimed that, as we see Van Oosten then come together with Queiroz and ends up in the wall. That's unfortunate. That looks more a physics-based incident than it did anything else. But Yuval Sharon then leads the way from Ralph Fest, Alexander Queiroz, Baz DeVroy, Danny Medina up in 5th, Heike van der Veen in 6th. See how Alex Shahabi got on at the start for the M2s. He's leading the way from Dave Selecki, but Dave is very, very close. No one likes a raging Dave behind him.
A questionable rejoin back there. One of the Porsches that were stuck in the gravel. He must have seen no headlights coming, quickly drove it back onto the circuit and did a 180. And by the time he'd managed it, he'd over-rotated the car. More cars were coming and there was contact.
Oh, it looks like it was Baz DeVroy then who's had that issue. And he's at the back.
Dan Hyde's made up several places. He's managed to avoid the carnage. He's up to 12th now, and no longer last in class.
Yeah, we've got Dave off track. Let's see what we can pick up what happened to Dave. Makes his way up towards the hill, towards the corkscrew. Someone spins. Oh, a little bit of an issue then. Someone spud in the middle of the corkscrew, and Dave got a little bit caught out and then gets touched and put in the wall. Unfortunate for Dave. I'm sure he will fight back. Still, 25 minutes of this race to go. He'll be looking to fight back for some valuable points. That is our championship leader in the M2s as he's actually come in the pits. So he's obviously got some fair amount of damage. He's going to get that fixed. Back at the front, Yuval Sharon then, after it's all settled down after the first lap, has got a 2.8 second gap from Ralph Fest in second. Whew, that was a bit of frantic start.
Yeah, it was. He's managed to pull out a handsome lead though, hasn't he? I've been watching some old F1 from the early 90s and it really puts me in mind of that, where those old legends could just pull out a 2-second gap on the first lap.
Yeah, Yuval's been very, very quick. I was watching in practice and then through qualified, and no one could get near the times he was putting in. So it's not surprising to me that he's pulled out that gap, and I'm sure that's going to be the way it stands for the rest of the race. But going back to what we were talking about with Race Room and R Factor and AMS2, so Race Room did have a very cult following, and that seems to, there's not so much online presence in Race Room as there once was, which is a shame because I think it's a really, really good sim. AMS2 is an up and comer. It's been out for about 18 months to 2 years, but it was one of these games that was released not quite right, and they've took a long time to get it sorted. But the current release of it, the updates that they've put in, makes it fantastic, and I think it'll be one for more of a casual sim racer.
I wonder if iRacing's model, if you've put a lot of money into iRacing, it's the gambler's fallacy, isn't it?
Yes.
You stay with it because you've put money into it. So if you've put in £500 in iRacing over the last couple of years, which is a realistic amount, are you going to be drawn to a whole new sim and ecosystem with, say, Race Room, and not think, well, now the £500 feels even more wasted because I'm not using iRacing? So that keeps people coming back to iRacing, maybe. And
I think the recent updates in iRacing have actually made it more accessible to people as well. The cost is, I think it was Jimmy Broadbent that did a video saying if you actually wanted to go and get the whole lot of iRacing, every car, every track, including your subscription for a year, it would cost you $3,500. RJ Sam 98, thank you for the follow. But yeah, £3,500 for the whole lot.
Was it pounds or dollars?
Dollars, actually. So it's still about $3,000.
Yeah, about $3,000. It doesn't make it much more easier to swallow.
No, it doesn't. We're on board with Graham Jackson, who is currently chasing the M2 of Alex Shahabi, who's up in 6th. So he's managed to stay clear of all the incidents and has got a healthy gap to Matt Gray, who is 2nd in the M2 class. And yeah, I would expect that DJ will get through Alex quite shortly and be on his way and trying to chase Heike van der Veen. Dan Hyde in your team car.
My design livery.
Your design livery has made his way up to 9th. Not bad from starting at the back of the grid.
No, he's a big fan of the Ginetta as well. He says it sort of leaves him hanging a bit on the straights, but he loves it in the corners. And because Laguna Seca doesn't have particularly long straights, it's quite a windy track. I think it will suit the Ginetta very well.
Yeah, but it's, we always find that Ginetta goes well at British tracks as well for the same reason. You know, twisty turny, and Laguna's very similar to that. In the way there's lots of tricky twisty turny corners. As Dan goes off, is he going to miss the wall? Just gets it all wrong through the corner. Did he just clip it? Hopefully not too much damage.
I think he hit it and sort of rode it down.
Bit of wall riding.
The old Gran Turismo 1 wall riding technique. But the headlights are still working, so that's a sign that he's obviously not hit it too hard.
No, that's good.
But he must be tired after the Simply Race 24.
Yeah, well, when I spoke to him earlier, he said I think he managed to sleep between about 7:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock, and then he'd gone home to sleep. And then I got there about 11:15, and he rocked up about 11 o'clock saying he had about 2 hours sleep, so I can imagine he's very, very tired.
Imagine so. It looks like, I mean, is Chiron extending his lead out front?
So the gap up front now is 9 seconds.
It's absolutely... These cars are all equal in performance. I mean, especially with Vest behind him. They're both in identical cars. So this is an insane drive. And he makes it look so easy and so smooth, not putting a foot wrong.
No, he's been spot on, and he's very quick. The pace has been quite incredible. So yeah, and he's actually fourth in the championship, behind his brother Yotam, who's not here this evening. But that would have been a battle I'd like to have seen as well. Both the Chiron brothers going at each other.
Equally matched.
Yeah, and just in that half a lap we've been watching, Yuval Chiron, he's actually managed to pull out 1.2 seconds over Vest. So he is absolutely flying. And
there's no different tyre compounds that they can choose from.
That's just solely driver quality and ability.
There might be a slight difference in how much fuel they've taken on board, but that'll be the difference of 60 litres or 59 litres. It'd be a tiny difference that will not account for a 1-2 second a lap advantage.
No, absolutely not. It wouldn't at all. See,
Jackson gone wide.
Yeah, gone wide, and he's got WVO Willie Van Oosenen right on his tail. So he's the battle of the Ginettas. There's quite a few Ginettas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on track. So a lot of people preferring the Ginetta as Van Oosenen then right on the tail, looking for a move. Let's go and flick onto the TV cameras and see as he goes up the inside then. And DJ was very nice there. Didn't battle that, knew he was quicker, and I think he's just let him past. So that is Van Oosenen up into 6th.
Yeah, simple textbook manoeuvre. I think after Jackson got his line wrong in a few corners ago, he compromised his speed in the next few corners, and it just sort of added up and led to a simple overtake.
Yeah, that's exactly one of the disadvantages of the Ginetta. You've hit the nail on the head. If you compromise your exit, where the Ginetta is strongest through the corner and out of the corner, you will lose so much on any kind of straight, because the Ginetta lacks the speed to keep up with anything else. So yeah, it's very important you get the corners right in the Ginetta, because that's where you'll get the most benefit from that car. Just having a look at Dan Hyde, then he's keeping up with Alex Shahabi. I'm sure he'll be past him shortly, but Shahabi's leading the M2s. He's got a healthy gap down to Rudolf Stein, who's in 13th, who is second in that M2 class. Just a yellow flag to have a look at. Queiroz, don't know what has happened here. Let's go and see if we can pick this up on a replay. It looks like he might lose it on his own. He does, coming out of turn 3. Oh, and hits the wall right under the bridge. Not the greatest place. Does well just to get out of the way. And has managed to get it back safely onto track, but that will be a lot of damage for that Ginetta. You can see the lights flickering, bonnet up.
It's going off track to keep out of the way as much as possible, so it's probably a bit of a pig to drive now.
I just want to say something at this point. So Queiroz has unfortunately had a horrific incident He's keeping out of everyone's way. He's heading back to the pits. That's put Heike van der Veen up to 3rd. Now, I called this before the race. I said any one of the top, between 2nd and 6th could get on the podium this evening. Heike said, well, it won't be me. And I said, well, you never know, Heike. You keep it in a straight line and stay out of incidents. You'll get on that podium. And here he is.
Yeah, ACC is, GT racing. It's consistency is the name of the game. Now I'm back in sim racing. I can talk from my experiences a little bit. In GT3, I was nowhere near the quickest. I wasn't even top 10 quickest, but just by being consistent and not running out of petrol, I got up to 5th position.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think I belonged there, but by not taking penalties, by not going off track, I didn't make an overtaking move even. And I made up 12 places without actually trying to overtake anybody.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with ACC and GT3 racing. A lot of positions can be made up if you make the right call in a pit stop. If you pit at the right time, if you get yourself out into some clean air and be able to pump the laps in, you might not actually pass anyone on track, but like you said, you can easily make up 10 places with things that are happening elsewhere on track, and someone might have had an incident like Queiroz did, or just got their pit strategy a little bit wrong. You can actually make up loads of places, and I always said consistency is the most important thing in ACC because it will breed good results. Experience
as well. Because the first race I had back, my inexperience... Sorry, the first race with a mandatory pit stop. The inexperience showed. I hadn't set my pit box properly, and I changed tyres when I didn't need to.
Fantastic development this is!
9 out of 10 people didn't. And that was purely on me. That was just an experience. And it's one of those things I'll learn from, but, people would have all made up a place for that.
Yeah, it happens, and like you said, it is experience. The more you race a sim, the more you realise what you've got to do in a race. And just Beluga Whale, thank you for the follow. Just see that flash up on screen. But yeah, you're right, experience. And when I first started in ACC, I didn't have a clue what my pressures needed to be. What to do in the setup, how to change pit, like how to do your pit stop properly. It all comes with experience, and that's why. As much as you're not a rookie in the sense of you are a sim racing veteran, so to speak, you're a rookie to ACC. So yeah, it was perfect for you to go in. Like you said yourself, you're not the quickest out of the group that's racing in that rookie league, but you are learning the sim and learning how the sim runs and how you can get the best out of it while doing some racing with not the sweatiest of guys. We'll see later on. I
don't know about dog juice.
Well, no, DJ's just sweaty in general, but we're not going to go into that story. It's not even past watershed yet.
We're just approaching the halfway mark, and right, I'm gonna guess that Sharon has increased his lead to 15 seconds.
He is currently 16.7 seconds ahead of Ralph Fest in second. So
it looks like he's already catching back markers, but this could be Zielecki or Jelinek, couldn't it?
Let's have a look. Let's see who that is.
They pitted for their damage.
It's not Jelinek. It's actually Matt Gray, who is currently sitting 4th in the M2 class as Sharon goes around the outside. Nice and easy. Gray made that easy for him.
Yeah, there wasn't any blue flags, but it's really simple just to help facilitate those sort of overtakes. And when I've had to let people overtake, I don't know, I get this weird sense of this is professional. I'm doing it properly. Yeah. You feel like I'm in a proper race because there's a maturity and there's a professionalism to moving over like that gamers don't do.
Yes.
Forza players don't do that. And I think it's one of those things that sets sim racers apart from just people who do race games.
Yes.
It's being able to swallow pride and go, yeah, well, I need to move over.
But it's actually also about being almost like a gentleman driver as well, isn't it? You understand the rules. You understand that if someone goes at the inside of you and they're ahead of you into a corner, you know that corner is no longer yours. So there's no
Yes.
point turning left or turning right to try and take the corner as you normally would. Where what you would get in the likes of Forza and the arcadey type games is you guys are door banging and you're wrestling for positions because they're only generally shorter races. But actually in sim racing it's more about, okay, I've lost that position. That position is lost before I've made it through the corner. I'm going to give that position up and tuck in behind and go again because I want that position back. And it's almost that understanding and knowing. And like you said, it does set apart arcade race drivers from sim racers.
Yeah, completely. Plus, when you let I was racing. What's his name? I don't know his first name, but the driver Wolf.
Oh,
Is it Richard Wolf?
Yeah, Richard Wolf. Yeah.
I passed him because he had damage. He fixed it up, and later in the race was trying to unlap himself. And I know it's bizarre, but I just moved over and let him unlap himself because I knew he was faster, and he flashed his hazards to say thank you. So that was quite nice.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. It's understanding about if someone is quicker than you. That there's no point. You're going to lose time. The more you defend, you're going to lose time, and it's actually not. He's probably, if it's someone that's coming back through the pack, because they've had an earlier incident, that's not your race.
No, it's and the oNiD series are great for developing your drivership, I suppose. What's a better word for it?
Racecraft.
Your racecraft, that's the term I'm looking for. Yeah, your racecraft. And it's one thing to do a hot lap and, you can just do fast laps on your own. It's a very different kettle of fish when you've got to share a grid with 18 to 40 other cars and you're all trying to share the same bit of tarmac in the first bends of a circuit. Oh, so De Vroid jumping out and trying to get the jump on the Ginetta.
Yeah, and Ola saw that coming. You see, this is exactly our point there. Ola knew that was that corner wasn't his anymore. He let the move happen, and now he can fight him back down the straight. They are side by side, getting close to the wall. Baz De Vroid, little touch, and Baz De Vroid then. Yeah, he moved. Looked like he moved over a little bit and squeezed David Ola. See if we can catch that back. Yeah, side by side, that corner does come out.
He was expecting the Ginetta to back out, I think. He was trying to squeeze him to the inside to make the next corner as tight as possible for the Ginetta, but I think they just ended up making contact, the old American police pit maneuver by mistake, and once that happens, he'll be kicking himself because he didn't need to run the Ginetta so close to the wall. It reminded me of Schumacher and Barrichello at Hungary.
Yes, no, very much agreed. That's unfortunate for Baz De Vroid. He'd done so well as well to make his way back after an early incident and make his way back up to 10th, but in the battle for 9th has unfortunately crashed out. Graham Jackson looks like he's had a problem through the corkscrew. Yellow flag out for him. Car doesn't look damaged in any way, so looks like he may have just had a little moment through the corkscrew, saved it, and he's back on his merry way. Ends up in 6th.
He's going to have to defend now from Dan Hyde, who's looks like he's going to be within attack range shortly.
And it's nice to see Dan Hyde's car with no damage on it. He always seems to get in a scuffle. It doesn't mean he crashes into anyone, but he always seems to get a bit of... There's always scuff marks on the front of Dan's car, and it's nice to see that wonderful pink and white Circuit Superstars go for the Gap racing car with no scuffs on it. Well done, Dan. Doing well, because like we said, 24 hours he's just done round Spa with the Casual Apex team, which was full of prismatic racing drivers. I noticed there was Phil and Dan, the usual Casual Apex guys.
The flower pot men.
Yeah. And then there was Hamish Eisner. Who else raced? I can't remember.
You would have had Jamie, Jessica.
Yes. All wearing the colours, although Dan did turn back up in a Team Forzilla shirt, which he was swiftly told to take off.
He got that from me. I was given a dozen shirts back when I raced for Forzilla, because before COVID broke out, we were all going to meet up at Brands Hatch for the British touring cars, and then it got cancelled, so I just had this box of shirts that I got some posted out to my teammates, and then I was like, well, I've got shirts to give out, so
Yeah, so the
They
team
went to-
the team
yeah.
Godzilla guys that were at Simply Race found it hilarious.
Yeah, probably unexpected.
But it's safe to say Team Godzilla won the Simply Race Enduro.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess.
Only by
yeah.
a couple of laps from Camsport. So Ben's
Gonna
team-
guess that was Jack.
I'm not sure. There was a guy from Portugal that had come across. He was in the car as well.
Was that? It could have been a guy called Nuno.
I think it was. I want to say Pablo. Maybe?
Oh, Pablo. I think he's Spanish.
Yeah. So it was. Jack was one of them, and Pablo had come across. There was also a team from Germany that had made their way across just to race in the event as well, which was great to see.
Oh,
So DJ's had a little bit of an incident there. He's just clipped the wall. So
Dan happily takes the place.
he does indeed. We've got lots of yellow flags out. Nick Wade, I don't know what's happened there, but I don't know if we'll catch it.
Well, careful with the rejoin. Just a bit of a tank slapper.
Yeah, looks like he got a bit of tank slapper and just clips the wall. That's unfortunate. Dents the front of that BMW M2 CS racing car, and he's back on his way. He had a decent enough gap behind him to maintain third position in class. So let's go and check on Alex Shahabi, who's got a solid 20-second gap from second place in class. He's still flying round. Looks to be going strong.
Not a lot to say about Shahabi and Sharon.
No, let's go. Actually, that's a good point. Let's go and check on Sharon. What do you think the gap is now?
19 seconds.
22.
Wow.
The man is flying from Ralph Fest, who is in second, and then Heike van der Veen, who is in third, but with 7 and a bit minutes to go, he's under pressure, or will be under pressure. That Janetta behind him isn't Van Oosenen, it's a back marker, but then Van Oosenen's just gone through your shot there in that green Janetta. So can Van Oosenen catch Heike van der Veen before the end of the race with only 7 minutes left?
Yeah, and that Janetta's gonna... He's coming up like he wants to unlap himself.
Yeah, I think that's Queros.
But we've got to be careful. He's got to be careful he doesn't run into the back.
See-
Oh, Van der Veen's outbraked himself. Yeah, feeling the pressure. Just having a car behind him. Ooh.
Yeah, I think if Heike's sensible here, he will just allow Queros, I think that is in the number 10 Janetta, to make his way through. Especially as they're going to have traffic. They've got Dave Selecki just in front of him, so you're going to catch Dave fairly quickly. Let's go on the rear wing of Heike van der Veen. Nice Racing Stronger logo on the back of that Porsche. Queros then still in behind him.
And Chris doesn't need to do anything rash or, he's very far down the pack. He's not going to be making up any positions, even if he unlaps himself. He's got 6 minutes to go and a lot of BMWs to pass before he's reaching Savchuk.
Yeah, he has indeed. Some good shout.
He needs to be thinking about letting Van Oosenen by. He doesn't want to get... Well, he shouldn't get tangled up in their battle. So it looks like he does the right thing and he moves right over. Well done.
Yeah,
well done, sir.
Looks like he heard you. So Van Oosenen then we will go to the TV cam as he is only 4/10 behind Heike van der Veen. So with just over 5 minutes to go, this will be the battle for the podium.
There's a bit of a new sensation for Van der Veen, sort of being this far up front. So we'll have to see if he can hold on for these last 5 minutes. Be a real test of
He certainly has the pace, that's for sure. But we do know that WVO's got some great pace in that Janetta. It was only because of an earlier incident that he wasn't already up chasing the likes of Van der Veen, Vest and Sharon. As they safely...
Van der Veen's try to clear a BMW around the outside of the final hairpin at Laguna Seca. The BMW keeps well clear of this battle.
Yeah, very correct. As we go onto the bumper of Willy Van Oosenen then, and see how close he is to Heike van der Veen as they come into turn 1. Heike just placing his car not quite on the inside, in a place where he knew that WVO wouldn't be able to get past him. Again, look at the car placement from Heike. middle of the track, defending for his life.
He is, but he's got to be careful he's not defending when he doesn't need to, because Van Oostenen isn't making an attempt to pass. So all Van der Veen's done is he's sacrificed his exit speed horribly there.
The advantage is that Porsche's going to be quicker in a straight line than the Ginetta, but as we see then...
And there we go. He was
WVO.
defending when he didn't need to.
Yeah, it looks like Van Oostenen's going to get this done then into the left-hander. He does. Hiker goes a little bit wide. Queiroz goes through as well. Queiroz obviously not in this battle, but he's trying to unlap himself. So Van Oostenen then goes up onto the podium. Hiker van der Veen loses that spot.
This is just one of those things that comes down to experience and being able to... making the right calls when you've got a car behind you. When do you go offline to defend? And, you know, if they're not going to make a move, then you can keep them behind you and just keep your car sat on the racing line, because the racing line is the optimum line to drive on. So if you don't need to leave it, you shouldn't. Make the car behind you go offline.
Yeah, very correct. Very correct. And it's just Hiker's, you know, still working his way through the rookie league. He's done 3 seasons now. He's still learning his craft, and that'll come the more he races. He does race a lot, so that will definitely come for Hiker. But a 4th is not to be sniffed at, that's for sure. For Hiker, that's going to be a great result for him. And I'm thoroughly impressed with Dan Hyde.
Yeah, he's come right up the field. He's stayed out of trouble. He had that one moment where he outbraked himself a little bit, but he got away with it. His car doesn't seem like it's had its performance hurt at all. I don't think he's going to catch Medina, but I think he'll be very happy with 6th place.
Yeah, and he's also got, you know, Graham Jackson only 3 seconds behind as well, so we'll see how that goes. I think the position is generally safe unless Dan does something, gets a little bit wide, but nevertheless, that could become a battle before the race is done. So just a couple of minutes left in this race then. Chiron, 27 seconds in the lead, absolutely flying. It's coming up to lap, I think that's Max Savchuk, flies past him. So Chiron comfortably in the lead, fastest lap as well of a 1:30.945, which is just under 2 seconds quicker than Ralph Fest in second, who has got the second quickest lap of the race. So an absolutely dominant performance from Yuval Chiron.
Some car behind him was trying to copy his speed and line and got it all wrong when he onto the gravel.
Yeah,
it is tempting to just try and copy what the lead is doing in front of you.
It is. You can almost get fixated as well, can't you? So it happens sometimes when you're behind a car and you get fixated on chasing that car, and if they go wide, you go wide.
Yeah. Top tip: you can use that to your advantage. If you know somebody's following you closely, and they have been following you closely for a while, brake as late as you can, knowing that they'll brake a fraction later and possibly go into the gravel.
So Chiron then takes what would be in NASCAR the white flag. He's on the last lap of the race with a clear near on 30-second gap to Ralph Fest.
He doesn't even need to worry about these cars ahead, does he? He could just cruise round and not lap them.
Yes, he could just ease off the throttle. You know, Ralph Fest is not going to make 30 seconds up in one lap. Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle.
Now I know what that is. He is relaxing a bit, and that can happen when the last lap you think, oh, I'll relax a bit now, and you break the rhythm you had. So you're not at your normal race pace, you back off a little bit, and then you've just broken the rhythm of what you were doing. You're thinking you've relaxed, and mistakes can creep in.
Yeah.
He was very lucky to get away with that one.
So then, as Yuval Chiron then makes his way through the left-hander, flash of the lights, he's flashing already. He knows he's got this one in the bag. As he comes through the penultimate corner, the right-hander makes his way down towards the last corner, taking it easy. He knows he's got this one in the bag. As he makes his way then up towards the finish line. Flash of the lights. Victory for Yuval Sharon. Easy work for him in the end.
Epilepsy warning.
The next car then on track is Ralph Fest. He's making his way through, and this is going to be a great result for Ralph Fest. He wasn't sure he was going to make the racing today. He thought he might have to work. He's here. He's got through the early incidents, and he's maintained a solid gap to third place, and he will come second. Flash of lights from Ralph Fest. Great effort from him. He'll be pleased with the second place. Great result. As we watch then, wait for our third place car. It will be Wilbur Van Oosenen. As you see the fireworks going off above the pits. Flash of lights, Van Oosenen then third. Great effort from him. He does make his way onto the podium. Heike van der Veen finishes fourth. Good effort from him. Unlucky to lose the podium at the end, but fourth place is not to be sniffed at. Great effort from him. Danny Medina then makes his way with a slightly broken Camaro. The front of the Camaro doesn't look great, but he will make his way across the line in fifth position. Next up, your driver, Cammy, Dan Hyde.
My boy.
Done well, gets himself
Really?
up to sixth.
But no flash of lights. He's happy, but not ecstatic happy.
As we see then, Alex Shahabi in the BMW M2 class takes the victory. Good win from Alex Shahabi. Again, very much like Yuval Sharon, dominant from start to finish. No one was near him. Some incidents meant that these were taken away from him, and that is that. Second place in the M2 class was Nick Wade, and Matt Gray gets on the podium. That's a great result for Matt Gray. Petty Jelinek in fourth. Dave Selecki managed to work his way back up into sixth, I think, in the end. So great effort from these guys. So yeah, that's that. A little bit different tonight, Cammy. I was saying before you came on. So we're going to end the stream shortly, and then Jimbo Mancy is going to come in and he's going to take over the stream. So there will be a 5-10 minute gap where we end the stream, but guys, we will be back. We will be back indeed. Jimbo's going to then come on, do the stream. With Cammy, you're going to be on comms, aren't you?
Yep.
And it's going to be split 2 tonight, and you get the privilege of watching me for the evening.
Wish you all luck.
Yeah, it should be a good
Break a
one.
leg out there.
Well, don't want to do that. I've got a real life job to go to. I can't be doing that with a broken leg. So guys, thank you for watching the sprint race. We will be back shortly with Jimbo Mancy and Cammy at the helm for the main event split 2 race around Laguna Seca. 90 minutes tonight. So please bear with us. We will be back, and we will see you all very, very soon.